Hey team, how y'all doing today? So today I want to talk about lead stages, call and lead stages. Okay, so call stages, lead stages. We can extract all of this from HYROS. From like any kind of integration that we have. We can do it via Zapier even. We can also create URL rules for any part of the funnel that someone goes to. Okay, so like I'm just going to run through like a couple, like basically those are the three ways. Okay, I'm going to run through each way that you can basically set that up. Okay, every business is a little different, but like the concept is pretty much the same. What's really good with lead stages is you can extract information from like leads or calls, right? And then with that you can see, like, for example, like if people are booking a call with you, we could extract a lead stage that they showed up, right? So they showed up to the call, right? So we could extract how many people are showing up to calls. And then what we could do with that information is we could see all the campaigns, all the ad sets, and all of the ads that people that are generating showed call stage, right? So people that are actually showing up to the call. And then at the same time, we could even create a custom metric based off of that stage. So we could do like the cost, right, of like Facebook ads divided by showed calls. Okay, so now we can get like cost per showed call, and then you can really start to like do make projections, right? So if I spend X amount of dollars on people showing up to the call, okay, and I'm able to close X amount of clients, then what that's going to do for you is it's going to allow you to like really forecast, like if we spend this much money and we close the X, on an average like percentage of people, we'll make X amount of money, right? So that's the kind of information that HYROS will give you. And with like, there's three different ways. So there's either direct integration, all right? So we can do it with Acuity, Calendly, ClickFunnels 2.0, high level is like what I see the most common, and then even HubSpot, okay? So like basically it's just as simple as us like pretty much like integrating Acuity, integrating Calendly, okay? Integrating ClickFunnels or high level, and then HubSpot. Mostly these are based off of like specific tags that people get. So like inside high level, whenever you're inside Go High Level, there are like specific tags that you can add to a contact. Okay, so when you're in like, let's say the opportunity area of Go High Level, you can drag people to certain opportunity stages. Okay, and then like if you set up an automation, if you drag a contact to a specific opportunity stage, they can receive a specific tag. Based off of that tag, we can name the stage whatever we want, right? So we can just be like, so like we can just click on like lead stages right there. You'll see it like, work here in just a second. So we can like view the lead stages. We can click on add lead stage. We can type in any name that we want, like marketing qualified lead or sales qualified lead right there. And then we can select the tag that represents a sales qualified lead, okay? So that right there is just one way, but we can do it a whole bunch of other ways, okay? So you can get very customizable with this, but this is the direct integration, okay? And then we also have URL rules. So if we go inside HYROS and we go to tracking and then URL rules, and then we can add a new rule, okay? We can create a dynamic rule, okay? And we can basically just call this like stages, okay? And then this is the area that basically HYROS is going to look for inside of a URL. So like let's say we have mywebsite.com, right? So mywebsite.com / like let's say it's a specific page that people are directed to like after they answer a type form questionnaire. So like, do you have X amount of income or something like this that redirects them to a specific page that they can only get to if they answer questions correctly. We could just be like / qualified, right? Something like that. And then what we could do is we could put a parameter at the end of that. So when they get directed to that URL, we put a parameter like this, like question mark, and then lead underscore stage equals, and then we could be like SQL, sales qualified lead, okay? Then we can basically copy this part right here, because this is what HYROS will look for. Whatever comes after equals will be the stage that is applied to that contact, okay? So we could copy that, right? Lead underscore stage. And this could be anything. So like they could get redirected to a different page if they're like semi-qualified, and they could get redirected to a different page if they're not qualified at all. So not qualified or medium qualified, whatever, right? You can make anything with these lead stages with these URL rules. So inside HYROS, the URL parameter that we want to look for is lead underscore stage. Select it just like that. And then what we'll want to do is make it a lead stage, okay? And then we can apply it to both, or even just like the tracked URL. But honestly, I would just put both, okay? Because like it's going to just look for lead underscore stage, okay? And then you can create. And now anytime that someone comes to a URL with a parameter that contains lead underscore stage, whatever comes after equals will be the name of that stage, okay? So that's the second way. And then the third way is with Zapier, okay? Okay, so like let's say we are inside Zapier, okay? And what we want to do is we want to create a Zap. And like let's just say that we want to connect Calendly, okay? Oops. Calendly, okay? Okay, change, new, and then you can just basically connect with Calendly, right? So you just like log in with your account, okay? So boom. And then the trigger event is going to be, well, it could be like, you know, honestly, anything. So new routing form submitted, invitee no-show created. So right here, invitee created, invitee canceled, event canceled. So like let's just say boom, we want to see like no-shows, okay? So anyone that gets the invitee no-show created, right, we can just boom, test. Didn't find anything, but like that's just my account, so like no one ever, like, yeah, I don't really track those things. But anyway, we can just pull a record, right? And then we can skip that, and then, okay, cool. So here's like a record that Calendly will give us, right? So we can just continue, and now we can connect HYROS. HYROS. Boom. Okay, so event is going to be lead, so we want to create a lead stage, right? Okay, and then we'll sign in. So when you sign in for Zapier, it's going to ask you for your HYROS API key. So to get that, you just go to Settings, okay, Profile, and then scroll down to API keys right here. Okay, so it's going to be at the top. You're just going to scroll down and click on API key. And you're going to want to create an API key. And you could just be like, I don't know, Zapier or something like that, whatever. And then you'll want to select all of these boxes, just like this. And then like you can just basically like, you know, select like your main HYROS account, okay? Create an API key, okay? Copy that, and then it's going to come inside here, and then it wants us to paste the API key right here. And then you'll be signed in, okay? So once you do that, you just click on continue, and then you want to get an email address, okay? So this is required. So John Doe at example, and then you can put in a first name, that's totally fine. That's, you know, I mean, if it doesn't have it though, you know, don't worry about it. This is not a required field. And then right there, lead stage. So now we can name whatever, like, we can name it, canceled, okay? So they canceled the call, right? And then continue, okay? And then test that step. I don't have anything inside here. But only people that get the invitee no-show or I should have probably just like named that no show. But you can name the stage whatever you want, like no show, right? So they didn't show up. Okay. They'll only get that stage applied if inside Calendly they get an inviting no show like created inside of their journey. You know what I mean? So you'd have to do that manually inside of Calendly. But that's just one thing, guys. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys have any more questions about this. I can totally assist. Like, stages are really, really good, because then what we can actually do with stages is we can, like, let's say we want to go to the dashboards and we want to go to the metrics and we want to create a metric and we want to create a formula, and I want to get the cost per no-show, cost, or the cost per showed call as an example, right? I can just do like right here, cost divided by that specific stage and get the cost for it. So cost of like Facebook ads or Google ads, whatever, for that specific stage, and then it will give me that information. And that's really good for projecting on how you can make more money, guys. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much, guys.